Hello, I'm Kathy Bissell. Welcome to the Golf Show 2.0. A few weeks ago, we had someone who was able to make the longest drive this year, and now it's going to be the longest putt. Gary, do you want to introduce our guest?
Yes, we're blessed to have Jay Stocki, the record holder here, and hopefully he's going to be able to show me how to hit longer putts.
Excellent.
Everybody wants to get longer off the tee. I need to get longer on the green. Now it's incredible. He made a putt of over 401.2 feet at the Bass at Whistling Straits, Black Wolf Run. I think the obvious question is, why would anyone do that? But there's a record involved. So, Jay, tell us how this all start, and how did you get suckered into getting a world record?
Yeah, so it is a great story. So there's a group of us that every year we go to take a golf trip to Kohler, sometimes even twice a year. And a couple of years ago, when they finished the Bass, we started adding that to our agenda when we go up there. So I don't know if you're familiar with Kohler, but they have 4 of the best courses in the country there. And so we'd play those and have great competition. But then after they added the Bass, which is a par 3 course, and then an 18-hole putting course, guys would have the most fun on that par 3 course because we could play as an 8-some, and then we would play on the putting course. And then a couple of years ago, we actually bribed the bartender to stay open well past dark. We had lighted balls and lighted holes that we set up. So we're playing in the dark and just having an absolute blast. And
there was no wagering, right?
Of course not, because gambling would be illegal. So there was none. but we just had such a great time, and people were raving about it. And sure enough, in the course of that evening, we started taking longer and longer putts. And then, of course, it ended up, okay, we're going to go on one end. Can we putt to the other? And my one buddy, Chris Carrivel, won it with a 3-putt that night and was all excited. But that led to the discussion of, that was a lot of fun, right? Why isn't there a longest putt competition, right? There's a long drive competition. Well, we're not 6'4", 280, so we're not going to be able to compete in the long drive competition, but anybody could do the long putt competition, which then, of course, led to, I wonder what the Guinness World Record is for the longest putt. So you should do a little bit of homework. It was 395 feet, done off of a fairway in Australia. And I've got a whole issue with that. We'll get into discussion later. The definition of a putt, it must start and end on a putting surface, but that's a whole aside.
Yes, I second that.
But so anyway, we sort of did our homework, and then we approached the folks at Kohler, who, we talked about how we come up there, and sure enough, it turns out the head of operations from Kohler is from the same town I live in. We have a great discussion. He's like, you guys are crazy, but you know what? It's just crazy enough that it might work. Sure, we're behind you. And so they fully supported our efforts. And so the decision was made that, no, let's actually turn this into a true competition. And so 2023 was the beta test. And the way the competition works, we have qualifying events, regional events, and then the national finals. And so the qualifying event, we'll do it at a charity event or a local course. If you win that, you move on to the regional. We do the regional competition, and then you move on to the finals. Well, we didn't do the regional this year. We just did the qualifying events and then the finals. And so we went, and it was just an absolute hoot. And the amount of people who were just walking by who thought it was the greatest thing ever and wanted to participate and wanted to know more. So we did that. We did the competition, and actually Mike Bourne, I came in second to the competition. But Mike Bourne was actually the winner of our competition. He put 2 of them, really close in the final round, and so he ended up overtaking me and winning. But then we decided, for a marketing stunt, right? I mean, you call it what it is. The whole thing is, let's see if we can set the Guinness World Record. And so, and it's actually quite a process, which was a complete educational experience for me. But the way Guinness works, you either pay them a lot of money to have somebody there on site the whole time, or right, they have a lot of rules you have to follow. And so we had to have 2 static cameras that captured the whole field of view and turn them on immediately when we get there. So they have to be running the whole time. You have to have 2 witnesses that are completely unrelated to anybody involved. So I actually ended up using a staffing firm to hire witnesses. And then the witnesses can only work for 4 hours because Guinness says after 4 hours, they're too tired, they're not paying attention. So I'd have multiple sets of witnesses for the 2 days that we're attempting to break the world record.
And then they have to go into the witness protection program because they know too much.
Yeah, I guess. But so we go through, I mean, they have to write a logbook like, so Jay, putt number X, miss, right? And time stamped, because that way Guinness will check and make sure the video matches everything you said. And so that's how they do it. And so the event was successful. Right after the event, we're attempting to break the Guinness World Record. My buddy Chris Caravel puts it to 2 inches. We're positive one of us is going to make this putt. And we went through the whole course of the day and got close and lip outs and struck the pin. And so we're done on the first day. We're a little disappointed we hadn't made it, but we're going to get it, right?
How many hours did you do this on the first day?
8 hours. So till the witnesses expired. So we had 2 sets of witnesses. So we did it for 8 hours.
How many guys were hitting the putts again?
8 of us.
8 of us. Okay.
Yeah.
So how many putts did you hit the first day?
So, because we had the contest and everything, so we were a little later. So I think it was about 700 and some the first day. I'd have to look and check, but maybe a little more, maybe over 800 something. But so anyway, we got the next day, and
so you 700 putted a hole.
Yeah. Well, no, I'll get to that. Okay. Find out how many it really took. So we get out to the next day early, and it's colder, it's windy, it's rainy. I had a buddy of mine who was running camera, so we had the 2 static, but then he's running the camera that followed the ball, and he's got to be on point because he has to follow every ball from the strike point to the hole like that's the one. And so he's just got to be dead focused. We go for 8 hours again. Nobody makes it. We hit the pin 12 times in day 2. I lift out 2 of them, and now we're bummed, right? We're like, we spent all this time and effort. I convinced 7 knucklehead friends to come join me in this endeavor to break a Guinness World Record, and it's not going to happen. And our witnesses had expired. They had done their 4-hour shifts. So we actually went over to the putting course, recruited some people that were just playing the putting course. Hey, will you come be our witnesses? And so there are witnesses. They had like dinner reservations at 6:30, sunset 6:30. We're like, well, we'll go till dark. And it just wasn't looking good. And then finally, I took the last shift, and the cameraman yells up. He's like, look, we're done. I can't see. And so I call out last putt. And then my one buddy, Dan's like, I'll take 2 more. I hit the putt. And then I turn around to Dan. I'm like, nah, it's over. That's in. Because you always call your putt after you've missed 237 in a row. But yeah, I made it. It was my 238th putt was the one that went in. And then collectively as a team, it was 1,944 putts for it to be able to go in.
Well, pardon my hearing, but you turned to him and said that's it or that's in?
I said, it's over. That's in.
That's in.
And,
in.
Like, in. Yeah. So I called it. So the one that I made it.
You called it after you hit it from 4. I thought, well, he's probably just being sarcastic.
And I was, Gary. I did not think it was going in. I mean,
that makes sense.
I truly thought we had failed, and that's why if you saw the video and just the crazy joy you see, that was a group of guys that were cold and crabby who had thought they failed, and pull it out at the end. So
it takes so long for that ball to clear that last crest.
Yeah.
I'm watching the video, and I thought, yeah, he didn't even get it over the last hill. He was right.
Right.
He said that was it. I thought he said it was in, but no, he said that was it. And then here it comes, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
It wasn't quite the same celebration as Justin Leonard at the Ryder Cup, but it was pretty good.
Well, for us, it was fun. So we had a great time with it.
Well, after you do this once, what do you do again? Are you going to focus on your putting event?
Yeah, so we're turning this into a competition. So, we've got about 24 already signed up for next year, and probably the goal is several hundred, right? And it's great for charity golf events because we add this as an event. And typically, it's up to the charity to decide what they want to charge. We recommend $20 a guy, right? They take 3 putts. We take the sum total of their best 2 putts. Whoever wins out the day wins that qualifying event. They qualify for one of our regional events. We're going to have 6 to 10 regional events around the country. The winners of the regional events then get a free trip for them and a buddy to Kohler, where they compete in the finals. The finals are 3 rounds, with the third round being a world record length putt. So anybody who makes the finals next year has the shot to break my record. And that's sort of the draw. And so it's great for the charity because they can raise more money. And it's great for the participants because it's something that goes beyond just the day of that event. So fine, you're in a charity event, but now there's potentially a regional, potentially a final, fame and glory of having your name in the Guinness Book of World Records, etc. So that we've really started this, and every charity event coordinator is like, why wouldn't we do that, right? Because it's sort of free money for them, and it's something bigger than the event itself. And then we'll do it also at golf courses, right? So they can make a special event around it on, slow days. They can do something unique and host a qualifying event for this. And again, the winner qualifies for a regional and has a chance to move on. So
now, how do the people in local and regionals, what kind of, how long a putt do they have to make in order to qualify?
It depends on the course, right? We have suggestions, but since everybody in that qualifying event is taking the same putt that day, it's fair enough in that one will qualify and go through. We asked that they're at least 50-foot putts. We prefer 100-foot putts, so that it really is a long putt competition. On the regionals, the current plan is we'll do 2 rounds, 100-ish, 75 to 100 foot, and then 150 to 200 foot based on the regional course that we're hosting at. So you have 2 rounds in the regionals, and then the winner moves on, and then there'll be 3 rounds in the finals.
So you have to find something.
There has to be a limit on how long of a putt you can make anywhere in the world, because most places don't have a 400-foot putt available. You're lucky, you go to St. Andrews when you get a double green, but
right. There are very few courses in the world with greens this big, and so we had to do a lot of homework to figure out where we wanted to do things. And
there's a double green at 9 and 18 on the Jack Nicklaus course, the private course at PGA West. But I think it's a real,
bender. Right. That's the problem, is even some courses that have a long enough green on their practice green or their 18-hole putting course, some of them, there just isn't a line long enough to set the Guinness World Record. So that's why Kohler's the perfect situation for us. And they've been just so great. I mean, they hosted it. They were so excited that we actually made the putt. They're excited to host it, the finals again next year. They've been wonderful to work with. Bentonardi Putters was a sponsor of the event.
Okay. So I was going to ask, what kind of putter did you use?
Yeah. So they I don't know if this will show up, but they actually made a custom putter for us that has a little bit of extra toe hang, a little bit of loft, and a little bit of extra weight, so that it worked well for that long of a distance. And so they were ecstatic that we made it, and they were ecstatic for their engineers to actually take a look at the putt, because so we did it 1,944 times. We had a lot of spectators and some golf course personnel and everybody who also took whacks at it. So this putter was swung hard more than 2,000 times. And so it's great for their engineers to actually take a look at, okay, how did it turn out? And you can hardly tell that it was even used. I mean, so they were ecstatic on their feat of engineering to create the putter.
Well, I expect Bettinardi to really, produce that to the public and advertise it as the world's longest putter.
Yeah, you have to go read their golf.
Sell that model, the Jay Stocki model.
Yeah, they have a Golf Wire release on it, so they were hyping it up. So they've put it out to the world.
How do you practice to get ready to try to make a 400-foot putt?
So it's funny, as we did off to the side, right? We were practicing different techniques, and if you look at all of the video, of the 8 of us, there's probably 7 or 8 different techniques. My one buddy Chris really went low, almost like a hockey slap shot. If you know what the whiskey finger is, right, where you hold the index finger down the putter shaft, I actually preferred that one with my right hand a little lower. Some people were just their normal putting stroke. So it was the difficulty, right, is that because it was a longer stroke, if you were thick at all, right, you would take a divot out of the green. And so, we had to be really, really nice to the golf course superintendent at the Baths, because we did put a few nicks in his green. So, but
he has ways to fix that. Trust me.
He sent me a text a few days later. He'd put a bunch of plugs in, and you could tell it was going to heal just fine. But it's as any golfer would, right? When you put a nick in a green, it sort of gives you that sinking feeling. It's like, oh, that's terrible. But it's what it takes to hit it 400 feet.
And then you're a little scared to hit it for the next 200 or 300 putts, right?
Exactly. There was definitely some of that. You just had to find your groove. So.
Is there a commemorative plaque or anything being installed at Whistling Straits as we speak? Or
I'm working on it, right? So we'll have to see. I've been talking to them, but yeah, Kohler's been great to work with.
Well, putting is one of those things that almost anybody can do. I mean, you could have age groups for kids and maybe a shorter length. You could have it for the juniors at all kinds of levels. There could be a ladies' long putting contest.
Exactly.
This thing could go exponentially.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it, right? And just the grassroots demand and interest we're seeing from people. I mean, just the crowd that we drew at Black Wolf Run. I couldn't believe how many people were just so excited to sit there and watch us putt. And so you can imagine now you do it over multiple rounds and the drama and the full real-time leaderboard. And I think it makes for a really exciting event. And so we're excited to move on. And then we're also excited about how much additional money we can raise for charity. So we've got a bunch of charities that we've partnered with that will do their events. And then we're going to start our own foundation. And the good news, I'm a retired advertising exec. So I'm mostly doing this. Ideally, maybe hopefully help me pay for my health benefits. But, other than that, this is truly just a labor of love on, something golf related that I can be excited about every day.
But I think the major question here everybody wants to know is, when you go in the clubhouse at Black Wolf or Whistling Straits, can you actually get a Guinness?
I actually don't know because we went in and ordered a bottle of champagne. And then a couple Wisconsin old fashions, but we're not going to.
A Guinness World Record, you got to have a Guinness, don't you?
Yeah, I would think so, right?
So tell us about the printable parts of the celebration that ensued, and leave out the the lady in the stripper pole part.
Well, it was pretty funny in that so there was just this absolute sense of relief. We had marked it, so we had to have the surveyor then come back again the next day to confirm from where I putted to the hole, so that an all videotape for Guinness to witness. So we were doing that, and then we went to the clubhouse, and the people who had volunteered to be our additional witnesses were in the clubhouse also. So of course we got a bottle of champagne and celebrated with them, and then that led to many Wisconsin old fashions and a very, very good night, because again, we were so low. The morale was so low. And then we were just so excited when
it was like a golf equivalent of a Hail Mary.
True. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
it was a Hail J.
Too. So I did just get this in the mail. I don't know how well that'll turn out on video, but an actual certificate from Guinness that makes it all official. And so it was a lot of fun.
So you're going to be, do they still print those in books, or is it only online now?
So they do. Well, we'll find out. I didn't make the cutoff for the book this year, but they said I have a good chance of being in the book next year. So
what do you mean a good chance? You're in, right?
You broke the record.
The printed book, because they only take so many records into the printed.
Well, but it's a brand new record. They got to put that in.
I would agree with you, but it's not my call.
Huh. So. We're going to have to lobby on his behalf, Gary.
I think so. But,
they're going to care what we think.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What charities are the ones that are going to benefit next year, or is it just a variety of them from the locals and regionals?
So it's a variety. So obviously we're reaching out to a lot of the national charities that have multiple events. So the biggest one we've signed on so far is Southwest Airlines, has about a dozen charities, and each one of a dozen charity golf events. And then each one of theirs typically has, 1 to 4 local charities that they sponsor. And these events are typically at their hubs. So they've agreed to do it all. Then I've got a few other charities I don't know if I can talk about yet. I don't know how much they're making it public. So we got to figure out what's allowed to talk about and not allowed. Obviously, I want to
Right.
talk about it and put it on our website and, really make a splash, but I got to get all their permissions first.
Well, so what's your website if people want to go there?
worldslongestputt.com.
Uh-huh.
So
Why
Well,
not?
are you gonna you gonna get business cards printed up saying you're the world record holder, longest putt?
I should do that, shouldn't I?
You
No, I
should.
haven't made up any business cards yet, but we're on LinkedIn and we're trying to make our splash that way. And then
You're a you named yourself the commissioner of the league, so
I had to give myself a title. I figured commissioner was about as good as any. So
No, I prefer czar.
Nice.
But here's the thing. There's only one drawback that I see, Jay. For the rest of your life, you're the world. You got this world record. You can never again leave a putt short playing with anyone. You're gonna hear it.
You already don't. So I recently had shoulder surgery. So I actually made that putt with a torn rotator cuff, a torn labrum, and a torn bicep.
wow.
So, which makes it even funnier. But so all I can do right now is putt. So we've been doing putting contests amongst some of my buddies. And anytime I miss one, they're like, world record holder, right? And roll their eyes.
Yeah.
And, so it's I've already been the butt of many jokes because of it. But
I think you should amend that story to say you tore your rotator cuff hitting putts, because it's not like you're putting, you're swinging. So I think that should be your story, or you got hurt in a motorcycle gang rumble. One of the two.
No, it's I was rescuing puppies from a burning orphanage. That's how I started my career. But
time for the shameless plug, Gary.
It's our shameless plug. Subscribe now; it's free. Your loved ones will not be injured. You will not get junk mail. Unlike, we need the help. Supposedly, you can make money if you have enough followers on YouTube and Twitter, and we have yet to prove that to be true. So help us out. We're trying to make 17 cents here so I can enter Jay's contest next year.
That's right. You got to watch out for Gary. He's going to be dangerous.
I hope to see you there.
I hadn't thought of that, but a lot of thought would have to go into what kind of putter you're going to use to try to hit something that hard. So it's probably not the putter you normally putt with, to be honest.
I think anything inside of 200 feet, you can use your regular putter and not really have an issue. But I did really like the Bentonardi putter they created for us for the 400 foot, because you really had to give it a swing. And then it's fun too, because we worked with Golf Tech. That's where I go for instruction. And they worked with us on thoughts on what it would take to actually putt that far, and experimented with different techniques.
Okay.
So the whole process has just been a lot of fun.
Tell Bob Bettinardi they should make the putter. It's the Bettinardi 401, the Stocki. It's nicknamed the Stocki, and sell to the public and promote it as the world's longest putter.
I like that. I like that a lot.
There you go. Well, it's been a pleasure, Jay. If anybody watching this, go watch the video.
We've got some video that's going to be seen over the top of this.
We'll have it be seen, but go watch it again and again, because it never gets old. It's like watching it's like watching a surfer go over a wave and then make it all the way. You just don't know what's going to happen.